Well, good morning. I'm getting another early start before 8 o'clock. And this is actually Labor Day here in the United States. And it's the video for the 6th, but it's being recorded on the 5th of September. And it's called Labor Day Message. Why do we labor? Labor Day is an American phenomenon that began with a labor movement in the late 19th century, shortly after the corporatization of the United States. It began as a revolutionary strike by railway workers against the railway company and the corporate federal government that was slowly taking more and more control of people's lives. Workers toiled under bleak conditions with 12 or more hour workdays, hazardous work environments, meager pay. Children, some as young as 5, were often fixtures at plants and factories. Some have suggested that such slavery conditions go back millennia as the rich take unfair advantage of the poor. It's all based on money, the illusion created to give slaves the false impression of freedom. Are we finally ready to throw off the shackles of elite establishments that con us into believing that we must work to survive? Yes, I am referring to work as doing jobs that are not needed for actual survival. I am not referring to gathering food, raising crops, building shelters, or making tools, clothes, and other necessities of life. I've sat here for over an hour pondering this morning, and of course, that's after I came to the computer. It was even longer than that before I came to the computer. And I actually looked up some things about Labor Day to look at some of the history of it, etc. But I've studied a lot over the course of my life in regard to the creation of money and how in the early times the slaves were made to mine for things that the slaves didn't understand had any intrinsic value. They did to the enslavers, like gold, for example, and mining and digging for something that the slaves didn't understand had any value, but it had value to those that were forcing the slaves to work for them. And this idea of human enslavement goes back, as I said, millennia. I mean, I think Anastasia, and I'm talking about Vladimir Meger's Anastasia, not the czars from the family of the czars in the early 20th century. I'm talking about the more modern Anastasia, who was the recluse that lived in the taiga, or the wilderness in Siberia, in what we now know as Russia, and formerly the Soviet Union, and formerly Russia before that. Anyway, as I said, Labor Day is a phenomenon that began in the United States after the Civil War and after the corporate government took over the United States officially. And of course, they've been tightening their grip ever since, and they're tightening it even more under Obama than they ever did under anyone else, except I don't think they're going to get away with it this time. Some labor, as far as creativity and stuff like that, is really, really good. I applaud all of the creative people that writing books is not producing anything except it's sharing ideas. Now that's something that is a valuable work. Teaching, if you're telling the truth, is valuable. But a lot of what we've been taught to teach is lies. I mean, it is not reality as far as human existence goes, as far as spiritual reality goes. It is deception, it is fraud. And I'm hoping that this Labor Day will mark the beginning of changes that we can actually see, that we can actually experience in our lives, changes that help liberate us from the idea that we have to do jobs that ultimately take away the rights of other people, and we create things that further our own enslavement. I would suggest that a major percentage, I don't know what the percentage is, whether it's more than half or under half or what, but a major percentage of the jobs that people perform in the world, especially in the Western world, are jobs that create things that further enslave and diminish our ability to become the best we can be, to tap into our untapped resources. And I'm talking about internal resources. This is an inside job, folks, but it has to be done not inside of some government agency, but inside of you and inside of me. It's an inside job. We have to start recognizing that we've been gifted with gifts, talents, and abilities that we have not been able to recognize or tap into. Therefore, we do not utilize them to produce the things that would make our life easier and better. I think there's better ways, and it's good to find better ways of creating food and of sustaining our physical bodies. I think it's good to do that. That's part of it. It's good to figure out ways to increase our ability to move from one place to another and to visit not only other places on our own planet, but other places in our galaxy and perhaps even other galaxies. I mean, the sky's the limit if we take the limitations off. And I don't actually, the sky's the limit is not true. Beyond the sky, we can go. It's not limited by the sky. But even within our own planet, the sky is not the limit. And we are so enslaved, so mind controlled, so limited that we can't see outside the box that has been artificially created for us to live in, as if this box is our natural environment. It's not. We were created to be creators. We were created with gifts, talents, and abilities far beyond what we have been led to believe. Are we going to start tapping into those and ending the idea of labor for money? Labor for some bureaucrats somewhere, some false entities called corporations. The incorporation of things is what kills and takes the life, drains the life energy right out of it. Corporation, corpse, and corporation, same root word, means dead body. And your name in all capital letters is a corporate name. It's a dead entity. It has no rights. It has none of the things that we normally attribute to somebody that's a living being. Because in the eyes of the corporate world, everything is dead. Nothing is real. Nothing is alive. We've got to get beyond that. Not only this Labor Day, but for the rest of our lives. We've got to be able to be catapulted or lifted or however you want to say it, brought forth to a place where we can see the places we've been lied to. We can see the things that are part of our being and part of our inheritance and heritage that have been hidden from us and taken from us in one way or another. We've got to get beyond all that. And I do believe that there are signs. There are signs that this is actually happening. And it's on that I place my hope. And it gives me a reason to continue to live and to continue to make videos, that we are part of an awakening that will end the slave labor that's been imposed upon us by a culture that has other interests than our own at heart. Thank you for listening, and namaste.